Welcome back. My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1981, and today we're going to talk about Frogger. The story of Frogger takes us back to Konami. We previously talked about Konami in our Scramble and Super Cobra double feature. Much like the background of those two games, there is just not a lot of information about the development of Frogger in Japan. Frogger is a game in which the player controls a frog that must make a perilous journey across a busy road and a river to their frog homes at the top of the screen. The number of obstacles in the game gave the game the reputation of having the most ways to die in a video game. The player has 30 seconds to guide each frog across the screen. When all 5 frogs are in their homes, the player makes it to the next level, which is typically more difficult. The game's introduction music is actually the first verse of a Japanese children's song named Inu no Omowari-san, or The Dog Policeman. Some of the music played during gameplay in the Japanese version were the themes to a couple Japanese animes. Frogger was released in Japan on June 5th, 1981. It was published by a Japanese company named Sega. We mentioned Sega briefly in our Pac-Man video. They had created the 1979 maze game Head On. The game would prove to be successful in Japan, so a North American version was planned. However, Gremlin Industries, a subsidiary of Sega, passed on the game initially. The game was seen as a game just for women and children, too basic and too cute for what they wanted. It was through the work of Elizabeth Falconer that the game would reach the North American market. She was able to convince her superiors at Gremlin Industries to test the game at a bar in San Diego. There was one major change. The song during the levels was changed to Yankee Doodle. Frogger did well at the bar, and Sega and Gremlin Industries would release the game in North America on October 23rd, 1981. And that is the background of Frogger. With that now told, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game. This is Frogger. As you can see, we have a few frogs going across the screen. This is one of the slower introduction screens that we have seen. I should talk a little bit about my skill set with this game. I'm decent at it. I'm not particularly good, but I'm not bad either. I've played it quite a bit in my day. There's going to be 7 frogs that make it across. We're not going to get the high score today. There's kind of a legend about the high score. They explain the points here after the name of the game actually shows up. So you get 10 points for each step, 50 points for every frog that arrived home safely, 1,000 points if you get frogs into all 5 homes, and then 10 points for every second that is remaining when you bring it up. The scores on these are pretty low. I should be able to make the high score list here. But the high score of all time, the world record score, is over 1 million points. It's kind of a legendary total thanks to a television show in the early 90s, saying that one of the characters had a high score of over 800,000. I don't want to necessarily say which show that was, but if you've seen the episode, you probably know what show I'm talking about. You don't get hit by the cars. It took until like 2009 for somebody to break that fictional high score listed by the television show in the early 90s. All right, so let's get in. I will see what I can do. I'm not going to get that, but I will hopefully do pretty well. Can't imagine having too much difficulty with this. Maybe I missed something here and there, but for the most part, I should be all right. Okay, there's 1 frog in. Yeah, the river is what takes the most time. Okay, is that good? Oh, well, I missed it just by a hair. I was early. I was trying to get the thing in the home, because sometimes those give you bonus points. All right, I saved myself there. Okay, we're going to go all the way to the left here, and... No! Are you serious? So much for me being decent at the game. This is awful so far. I'm just missing these jumps by a hair, it feels like. There we go. That's the hard one, the one on the left. So that's why I tried to go for it a little bit early there. This blue frog here is a female frog. You get bonus points if you take the female frog home with you. All right, that was bonus points. I thought so. I shouldn't be too concerned about points, to be honest. I would rather just kind of complete the levels than get bonus points. Okay. She was right there. I might as well grab it. All right. Looking good so far. There we go. I have over 4,000 points. I have the high score on the machine pretty much in the bag until that happened. But you know what? That's number 2. Number 2 on the list already. My first time up. I can do better than this. I can do the high score on the machine. I can do that. I'm gonna try to go for the left one here. All right. From that point forward, it should be fairly simple. The rest of them should be straightforward. I should point out that I did mention that levels typically get harder as time goes on. I'm told like after the 5th level, there's at least 1 or 2 levels that get easier for some reason. I'm not entirely sure the reason why that happens, but that is what I am told. I'm not sure I've ever made it that far in the game. Not because it's necessarily difficult, but because I just, miss jump here and there. Alright, I'm gonna try to get the female frog here. Okay. Should be good. There we go. Alright, not as many points as I had last time, but I don't think I lost a single frog that whole time. So, I'm gonna call that better. Okay, a little break here between the road and the river. Very helpful. And there is an alligator. I would recommend avoiding the alligator. You can see that the alligator will sometimes show up in the home as well. You're going to want to avoid that. And now we have some cars that are speeding. That's going to be a problem. Oh, come on, I made that. I made that. There we go. Safe there. I'm going to try to go for the leftmost one again. Nope. There was an alligator there. I couldn't do it. And I don't have too much of a time bonus these days because it's taking a little bit longer to get through these levels. Okay. Save here. Got the female frog. I don't know why the female frog is completely different color. I don't know frogs very well, so I don't know if that is biologically accurate or not. Oh, this is bad. No, time was up. I just took too long to get there. I didn't feel like that was 30 seconds. Okay, you gotta go fast. We'll do that. Okay. Wait for it. There we go. We got the leftmost one. I'm gonna take that. And you. And here. Alright, I do have the high score on the machine. That's something, I guess. Doesn't feel like that much of an accomplishment, to be honest. But I do have that, at least. Okay, as long as an alligator doesn't show up there right as I'm trying to get in, we should be good. There we go! Alright, 7,000 points. Not bad at all. Yeah, the most that the machine can display is, 99,000. It can't even show 100,000, so to get like 1,000,000 points is kind of crazy. Why there snakes? And a dog? I can't stay on the dog. I wasn't sure. All right, so first place. Yeah, they don't have initials on this one. We'll do one more. But I think you guys get the idea of the game. There we go. Bonus points for me. Hey, there's Yankee Doodle. I was wondering about that. I'm like, I know Yankee Doodle is in here, but it just doesn't play all the time. It was added to the list, though, because, you know, American. Yeah, that's still Yankee Doodle. I'm like, wait, is that a different American song? Nope, it's still the same one. Yeah, I don't often double back on myself. Usually I just try to go, you know, forward constantly, but every once in a while it'll be required, especially when I'm trying to get that leftmost one. But we should be good. Yeah, the music in the game is, you know, copyright-free music for the most part. I was surprised to hear that there was like anime music in here, but they're anime that I haven't even heard of, and that's usually saying something. I'll try to see if I can find like at least a picture of the anime. Obviously I won't be able to play the music from it, but I'll see what I can do. Okay. There to there. How much time do I have left? Not a ton. Alright, they took that leftmost spot away from me. Pick you up. How did I miss that? Was I a little late? That looked fine. That looked fine to me. No, this is not good. We're gonna have to go this way. Okay, not that one. This one. We're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to mess with the leftmost one on that run. Okay, anytime the next one wants to show up. This is how my time runs out, just waiting for this thing to show up. Alright, no! I didn't go left? How dare you! Alright, that was a bad end of the run. But hey, I got the first, second, and I think fourth scores on the game. As you can see, the game's fun. It is very basic, it's very colorful, and it's something that is for all ages, really, and that is something nice. But that's Frogger. You know, it gets a little bit more difficult because of the timings and things like that as time goes on, but otherwise the gameplay is exactly the same as you move forward. So that is Frogger. With the game now played, let's talk about how it holds up today. Playing the game today, it does feel very basic. Ultimately, it is just move the character across the screen. There aren't any real buttons to press. It's just up, down, left, right. And that is all that you need to know about the game. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to get into, but it doesn't necessarily hold up that well for me because it is so basic. I feel that there were definitely times when I played, as I mentioned as I played, that the character didn't do exactly what I wanted, or the result of what I did wasn't exactly what I thought was going to happen. And that's how I typically die in Frogger. It's not that something caught me off guard, or I didn't know what to do, or the game kind of trapped me. It's that I pressed the button and, you know, I was a hair off what I needed to be in order to make that work. That's typically how I die in that game, is that I just mistime a couple button presses. That's how I typically go. But the game overall is still pretty fun. It holds up fairly well, I would say. The graphics are good for the time. Of course, they are incredibly basic by today's standards, but at least I know what I'm looking at. I can recognize that it's a frog. I can recognize that it's an alligator or a crocodile, one of the two, probably crocodile. I can recognize that there's a dog, that there's another frog. I can recognize, well, I didn't really recognize the fly, but that was what was in the home at that point when I got the bonus points for that. You know, for the most part, I recognize what it is I'm looking at. And for the time, that's good. With that said, it's incredibly basic by today's standards. The graphics don't necessarily hold up that well. With the sound, hey, there's sound. There's something. There's actual music playing. There's nothing on the introduction screen, just when you get into the game in this version. And one of the songs was recognizable to me. That's definitely an accomplishment. With that said, though, the music doesn't hold up very well. And after a bit of time, I feel that music would start getting a little aggravating because it is so basic in what we would call like chiptune. The idea that it can only play certain tones is really a drawback for it. So it's not necessarily as good, in my opinion, to play recognizable music like copyrighted or copyright-free music, known music, I should say. It's not going to hold up as well over time, and it definitely was starting to grate on me a little bit here and there, but overall at the time the music would have been fine. So I can see why this game was super popular at the time, but I would ultimately say that it's fun in short bursts today and not too much more than that. It's not a game that I would necessarily want to go back to very often, and it's not necessarily a game that I could dedicate a lot of time to playing. And that's my modern review on the game. At the time, Frogger was seen as a game that appealed to all ages and all genders. It sold well, becoming the best-selling game for both Konami and Sega. The game would receive ports, sequels, and clones. As time has gone on, the game has continued to receive praise. It is often cited as one of the best video games of all time. Looking ahead, we will be hearing from all the companies involved with Frogger again. The success of Frogger would bring quite the profit for Konami and Sega. Konami would use this to continue making games, and we will follow their development as we continue. Sega, already a fairly large company by this time, would continue to grow. We will have to take a closer look at them at some point. That will do it for the story of Frogger for now. My name is Baller Scuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we'll take up Extermination.